Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be installing the PPF front bumper for this Tesla Model 3. It's going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to start off and how the process is going to be while installing it. So let's get started with the video. Alright, so before starting the installation process, we want to make sure to wet the whole bumper, or basically the whole area where you're going to be working on, with Tacky Solution. So we just have to make sure there's no dry spots, that way the PPF itself doesn't stick when you place it. And usually for the bumper PPF, when installing, it's recommended to at least have 2 people with you just to help you out removing the PPF from the backing paper. So I will have assistance today for that. Alright, so once you have removed the film from the backing paper and have it installed on the bumper, we want to make sure that before we start, we make sure to wet the surface of the film and the back as well. That way we have to make sure that the film doesn't stick to the bumper. We want to have it as slippery as possible, because once you try to remove it, it's going to stay stuck. Alright, so it doesn't really matter where you start off. You could either start off on this side of the bumper or on the other side, but just for this installation video, we're going to start on this side. So we want to make sure the first step would be, as mentioned, just watering down with Tacky Solution the back of the film and the bumper itself. That way you have a lot of room to move the film around. So the first step for this one would be to align the film to the body line of the bumper. So you will start on one end here, and then you would stretch it down, matching the body line towards the bottom, and you will need it to stretch it. So first, we start here. And then once you have it aligned on the top, take it down with Tacky Solution. And then with the squeegee. Alright, so once you have that tacked down on one end, we want to make sure before coming to this side, we want to make sure we pick up the film, spray a lot of soapy water on the film itself. That way we have the mobility or freedom to stretch it to the other end. You want to make sure once you apply the Tacky Solution, you stretch the film up to the corner of this side of the bumper. So you want to match it up to the corner. So once you have it to where you want it, spray a Tacky Solution. Alright, so once you have it tacked down here, you want to make sure you do the same procedure as what we did on that side. So tack it down here, and then stretch the film towards the bottom of the bumper, where the outline ends for the body line. Alright, once you finish working on the middle portion here, both on that side and on this side. You want to start working on the middle portion of the bumper. So with this one, we want to make sure we align the cutout of the anchor. We want to bring it down, and while we're bringing it down, we also want to make sure that the edge of the film matches with the body line of the bumper as well, towards the top. So we have to do it there, and then same on this end. There's no anchor here, so you just have to worry about bringing it down until it matches the body line here. So let's get started. So before, you just want to make sure you apply soapy solution. That way it's easier to stretch. So you want to make sure you add tacking solution just so you could tack this part down. That way when you're stretching, it doesn't move. So just make sure it's aligned to the body line. Alright, so once you finish working on the middle part of the bumper, so making sure there's no water, just stretching it down to the bottom and then aligning it to the anchor, and also making sure that it lines up here and on this end. The next step would be to work on the bottom half portion of the bumper. So this part, it's more easier, is just making sure you align it, and then you might need to do a bit of stretching. That way it lines up to the end of the body line of the bumper. And then same with this part, you're just gonna stretch it just a bit and then help it tack it down with the tacky solution. And then for this bottom portion, it's just simple procedure using tacky solution, spraying it, and then tucking down. It should all line up to the bottom half of the bumper right here. So let's get started. All right, so making sure you just apply soapy solution. That way it's easy to stretch. And then whatever steps you do on this end, you do it on the other side. So remember, just soapy solution and then stretch it as much as you can to meet the body line. If you need to remove it, just remove it a bit, just to help it stretch more. Remove the film just a bit. Soapy solution, and then just stretch. So now I should meet the body line. And then just once you get to the part where you need to be, tack it down. And then squeegee. So the film should match the outline here, and then it will curve here. And this part, the way to remove it is just either adding tacky solution, and then with the squeegee, just help it lay. And if that doesn't work, you could also use the microfiber towel. That way it removes any water that may be in the back of it, and then just press down. And then the last resort would be, if this method doesn't work, it would be just using a heat gun, heating it up. So once you worked around this area, and then worked on this area, you're gonna have this portion a little bit lifting. So you could either use, as mentioned earlier, the tacky solution, and just help it guide. And if this method doesn't work, then the next thing, like I mentioned, would be a heat gun. Just applying a little bit of heat. Letting it cool off, and then squeegee. Alright, so once you're done aligning this, stretching it on that end, and then working that one, stretching it towards this end, the final steps would be just working on these two, so the bottom and then the top. So this one is just simple. Just lift it a bit, and then spray the soapy solution. That way you could just move it and then tuck in. And then if just to help it tuck in just a bit more, you can use Tacky Solution. That way it sticks better. And of course, if this method doesn't work, you could use the heat gun as well. And then same procedure that you do here, you will work on this side. So it's just using Tacky Solution, spraying it on top, on the back of the adhesive, and then just with your towel, pressing it down and helping it adhere better. And then this is gonna get tucked in inside the hood of the bumper. So it's just tucking in. So it's just basically two same methods on both the bottom and the top. So once you apply the Tacky Solution, you would just start squeegeeing, pressing it down, squeegee, pressing it down. So once you get to this area, it's recommended to use a heat gun. That way the material becomes more flexible and you're able to tuck in the material inside the bumper. Alright, so once you finish tucking in all around underneath the PPF, your next step and final step will be working on this step right here. So same procedure as that one on the bottom. To tack down, you will need the Tacky Solution. And then once you apply the Tacky Solution on the back of the film, then you would use the heat. And with the heat, just squeegee out and apply it and tucking in inside the hood. So let's get started. So just remember, tacking down with Tacky Solution. Just lift the film up just a bit. And then from there, just start. You can start from either end. It's just heat gun. And then squeegeeing. Alright, so once you finish tucking in the top and the bottom of the PPF, the final step would be to do the cutouts for the sensors on the front bumper. So the front bumper, you're gonna see the small little sensors. So just with the stainless steel blade, it doesn't really matter, it's just a small blade. And then just carefully go around. Alright, so yeah, it's just grabbing the tip of the blade and just in a circular motion, going around. Take your time. Alright, and you just repeat the same process, just making the circular motion on the rest of the sensors, and then you'll have the cutouts for your sensors. That way the PPF doesn't block the sensor. Alright everyone, so that's the installation video for the Tesla Model 3 PPF for the front bumper. So just a quick recap. When you're starting, you want to make sure you want to anchor first on one end. Doesn't matter which end, but just make sure you start from one corner. Once you start from one corner, you stretch down the material downward until it meets the body line. Make sure it's meeting the body line across, and then you will the same steps you did here you would do on that end. Once you have it anchored on both ends, then you will start working on this middle portion. So making sure you remove all the fingers that might be piling up here and on this end as well. And then once you've fixed all the wrinkles and stretched down, you will work your way towards the middle, stretching down, trying to align the cutout for the anchor. Just aligning it, stretching it down, making sure you match the body line here, match the body line of the fog light. And then from there, it's just more simple. It's just squeegeeing, making sure you remove all the bubbles. And then once that step is done, you work your way here, stretching this, stretching the other part of the film. Once these parts are the same, or once these parts you have finished squeegeeing, then you move on to the last two parts, which is the bottom portion, just tucking in, squeegeeing using your heat gun. And then same procedure here, just squeegeeing with the Tacky Solution, and then with the heat gun, just to help it adhere better, just tucking in all around. But with that being said, if you guys do have any other questions, leave a comment below, or you could just message us and we'll help you guys out. Thank you.